What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's a late night stream of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Steady. With me on this episode is the man behind the magic known as Joe Garcia.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Excited to be talking about the new episode of The Mandalorian with everybody.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. And last but never least, we call him Thimble. It's Jericho.
Whatever. Whatever. First it was Sweet Cheeks, now this week is Thimble. Damn it.
No, last time it was Sugar. You know what?
That's true, yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I'm doing good, man. How are y'all?
Fantastic. I've been waiting to say that for a while.
Thimble.
I don't know if I should be I don't know if Thimble is better than Chode or not.
Oh God.
I don't know.
Oh, man. We got a great show for you guys. We are going to be talking all about episode 3 of Superman and Lois, which had finally a major reveal that we've been waiting for since the start of the season. We're also going to be talking
Well,
about
3 episodes in, I mean.
right. It feels like it's been a lot longer though. It really has. We're also going to be talking about episode 5 of Peacemaker, which is just everybody's favorite new show. Let's just be honest. And but first, we're going to be talking about what is also a new show, but they kind of went back to their roots a little bit. We're going to be talking about episode 5 of the book of the Mandalorian. I mean, the book of Boba Fett.
I
The
mean, the
book
new
of
episode.
Mando Fett.
Yeah,
The
it's the
book
new
of
episode of The Mandalorian.
Oh man, listen. It's we want to hear from you guys. Tell us what you thought about these episodes as we discuss and talk about them. We want to hear from you. What were some of your favorite moments? What did you appreciate? What's your favorite Easter egg? Drop all of that stuff in the comments. And before we start, the reason why we're doing sort of this late night Sunday episode is all because tomorrow, our usual stream nights is dedicated to the part 2 or the sequel of the Great Spidey Debate. We did it once a few years back where we had two of our biggest Spider-Man fans go head to head in a debate on who was the greatest Spider-Man of all time in live action form. And now that we've had sort of the first trilogy completed with Tom Holland, we thought it would be best to go back and discuss, um, have that discussion continued. And so tomorrow night, Monday, January 31st, will be the continuation of the great Spider debate between Rob and Eliud with some other special guests, where everyone will further the debate on who is the greatest live action Spider-Man of all time. Can't wait.
Nice.
And so that's taking over our usual Monday night stream. But today we're here to talk about the book of the Mandalorian. I mean, the book of Boba Fett, episode 5. And real quick, go ahead and run through a summary of the episode. And it goes a little something like this. Episode 5, Mando returns. Mando completes a bounty, but is slightly wounded by his own darksaber. Upon obtaining his reward, he gains information on the whereabouts of the remaining Mandalorians, including the armorer. His Beskar spear to be forged into what we think is what? Armor for Grogu? What else could it
It
possibly
has to
be?
be. Yeah, it has to be. But I'm not sure why he thinks Grogu would need it.
You know what? I'll ask you that question when I'm done here. Paz Vizsla questions Mando's worthiness to wield the Darksaber and challenges him to a duel. He ends up losing, by the way. The armor
Spoiler.
says because he has removed his helmet in the past, that Mando is no longer a Mandalorian. He must redeem himself in the living water beneath the mines of Mandalore. Mando visits Pelimato, who has a thing for Jawas and claims she has a replacement ship for the Razor Crest, but ends up being an N1 starfighter, the type flown by Anakin in the Phantom Menace. The two of them complete the upgrades to his modded starfighter, and Mando takes a test drive through the pod racing track from episode 1. And I think it's where everything ends there. Yeah, he sees the Republic fleet later on. They stop him for violations, and then they let him go. And that's how the episode ends. Real quick, I actually have a better idea, but I want to hear from you guys. What are they forging with Mando's spear? What do y'all think?
I mean, I thought it was. I still think it's chain link armor, and for Grogu, but only because it was small, and he mentions that he's going to go see a little friend.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think why he feels Grogu would need it if it is for him. Maybe because Grogu is still learning the Force. I don't know. But I don't know. I would still love to see him wearing the armor. But who knows? Who knows what it's for?
Joe, what about you, man? Thoughts?
I think it's a chainmail, kind of like Mithril that we've seen from Lord of the Rings. You know,
Yeah.
that protective, uh, almost like a shirt, lightweight shirt garment that you wear underneath
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
help, repel attacks. And I think what happened is that Din Djarin, in early on in the episode that we see of the Book of Boba, which is basically an episode of The Mandalorian, and the guys there, he hurts himself with the lightsaber. So I
Right.
think that made him even more aware that, you know what, you can get hurt just wielding this thing around, and it made him think about Grogu and what he must be going through in the training. So since he plays that father role, he wants to go ahead and make sure that he's going to be safe, not just, from hurting himself, but maybe from attacks that could be coming, because he's practicing to become a Jedi. Maybe
Right.
that chain link mail will be the saving grace for the little guy, and maybe he actually survives the attack, because we saw, in the new trilogy, even the Force Awakens, and we know that Kylo Ren destroyed, you know, the training facilities, and
Right.
took whoever wanted to follow him with him, and those that did not perished. So hopefully, little Grogu got away, and lived to fight another day. So I think it's
Yeah.
more of Din Djarin just wanting to protect him and give him something. And maybe he has this, and like a parent does sometimes, you kind of have this foreboding feeling. You know what? I
Yeah.
need to see my kid, something bad's about to happen, or I need to do this because I need to protect them, whether it be a helmet or some other protective gear that you have to get your kids sometimes if they compete in either, skating or biking, anything that has to do in the world of sports. You always want to make sure that they're protected. It makes you feel better as a parent. I think that's basically what is happening with Din Djarin. He wants to make sure he's going to be safe. He needs to see him one last time too, to make sure that nothing bad is happening to him as well.
Right.
So you both sort of said chainmail, from what I gather.
Chainmail, yeah, chainmail.
Only because
I
we didn't see a complete, you know, like it looked like little links, and it just we never saw a completed.
did I miss something? Did it
They're
look like
little
it was
hoops.
links of some sort?
Yeah, there were a
Yeah.
bunch of little hoops.
Ah, okay. Then I must have blinked or turned away for a second because I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, go back
I'm
and look
gonna
at the
go back
episode
and look
again.
now.
You'll see.
All right, I'll go back and look while you guys are talking. Yeah, no, I'm down with what you guys went with. We'll go with that. I was gonna say if it wasn't anything sort of armor related, it could have just been the little end to the knob that he always liked to play with. I don't know if he has any more of those, but that'd have been something. Just like make him a few toys.
But out of Beskar, I mean that's
Sure.
powerful, basically
Sounds like a waste.
adamantium.
I get it. I get it. That's why Grogu throws them at people really fast,
True.
and it hurts like a lot. Do you not know who Magneto is? That's all he ever did.
I was just gonna say. All
No,
right, all right. Yeah, I
think
pictured it. X
everything.
Men 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
There you
I
think
go.
see it
everything
now.
points to some type of chainmail. A small vest, maybe
Hmm.
that he wears underneath his clothing to kind of protect him.
Yeah, that'll work.
But I'm curious too. So if it wasn't completed, like if she did just give him the links and not actually like make it, can somebody else actually forge it? Or I mean, because it's Beskar, like I don't know if it's allowed to be touched by anybody else, beside the Mandalorian, you know,
You
or
know
do they
another thing?
expect him? Do they expect Grogu to like make it himself using the Force? Or
You know, I was thinking too. It could be another thing too. Maybe it's like it could be either little gloves, like little mittens that he puts on his little hands, or they could be those gauntlets, that he put on your wrist to
yeah,
kind of protect you. You can deflect, you know, a saber
okay,
attack, or put your hands up if somebody's shooting at you to kind of
yeah,
deflect laser blast as well. So who knows? It could be something. It's protective of whatever it is, but I
yeah.
think it's chainmail.
Next question. Next question. What was your favorite sort of callback in this episode? Jericho, you must have been flipping out like the
My
entire
God,
time.
there's when people were complaining that episode 4 was like no Star Wars at all, or even episode 3 too, like people were saying like no, it wasn't Star Wars and all that stuff. This was like basically fan service to that. I mean, you have the N1 Starfighter, you have the pod racing canyon that they use in Phantom Menace. I mean,
Yeah.
you have apparently what was a BD1. I've never seen, I've never played the game, but BD1 comes out, and um, I don't know, man. I think honestly, I think the N1 Starfighter, I think that one was amazing to see, and just the fact, and she was technically like, well, I never said I got you a Razor Crest, I got you a replacement for it. So I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it's still a great ship. It's just it's no Razor Crest. Um, but I think that one has to be my favorite part. And the fact that he went through the canyon to test drive it, like to test fly it. I think that was just so cool.
I agree. As soon as I kind of saw that part, I was like, "Hey, it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Great callback." So, as I've mentioned in previous podcast episodes of ours, and I've also mentioned plenty of times in The Mandalorian, I actually said it last week when was it last week when Boba was fighting the Sarlacc pit? I can't remember now. It was either the last week or the week before. I mentioned that Dave Filoni, excuse me, Dave Filoni and John Favreau are challenging themselves
Hmm.
to take anything in Star Wars that people have complained about and turn it from a negative to a positive.
Yeah.
So that's why you saw the beak make a comeback in the Sarlacc pit. People hated that, and so they brought it back and they fixed it. Made it a thing. And now in this episode, people still crapped all over the pod racing thing because it felt like it was just randomly thrown into a Star Wars movie, I guess.
Yeah. I
And
don't
so
know.
they
I don't know why people hated it.
I don't know why either, but they came back and they put the track that was used for the pod racing thing and they put it into this episode. And that's what Dave and John Favreau they're just doing. They're like anything that anyone's ever shit on
Hmm.
in the Star Wars universe, we're gonna take it and we're gonna use it. You're gonna see Jar Jar Binks in one of these episodes by the end. That is gonna be their last and final challenge is to make Jar Jar cool.
He's the last recruit for
He
Boba's
is.
army, and then
He
somebody's gonna
is.
shoot him dead.
God. He's gonna like save the day. He's gonna save listen, if there's anything that could make Jar Jar the most lovable character in the Star Wars universe, he has to do something like huge, right? Nothing would be bigger if he were to save the life of Baby Yoda in a future episode.
Oh
I'm
man,
calling it now. I'm calling it here.
that's
Weeks or months or
that's a
years
big
before it
step, man.
happens, Jar Jar Binks will save Baby Grogu in like some like dire situation and will force everybody
and,
to eat their
and
words
yeah,
and
but it'll
love
be
him.
like an accidental save, like he did in
Exactly.
every time he was in the movie, every scene he was in. It was always like some kind of accidental save.
Yeah,
That's how it's gonna be.
it's gonna be a fuck up on his part that's gonna save
Yeah.
somebody. Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
Gonna get another gun another robot arm cut on his leg and
Yeah.
his foot or whatever. Oh
He's
man.
gonna trip on something and then cause somebody else to
Oh.
fall or something stupid, you know?
I'm
Yeah.
calling it now. I see you, Dave. I see you, John
Yep.
Favreau. I know what you're up to. I see your tricks.
Hey, and
Uh,
even Bryce Dallas Howard. I mean, she directed this episode, so maybe I mean she seems to be a huge fan, and her episodes have been great too that she's directed. So come on, let's throw them in there at some point.
we got the Womp Rats. We got the Womp Rats in this episode. That was a great
Yeah.
callback to the original movie. Before we get to Joe, JC, who's an old man and needed his beauty sleep,
Oh,
sent his notes, and I want to read them before we talk to Joe. That way, Joe can respond accordingly. JC in his notes says, "Tell Joe to stop hating and going in with high expectations. Just
Nah.
let the series play out." Confirmed. Halo series is a Star Wars prequel.
okay.
Ah. Was most excited to see BD1 since he's playing Jedi Fallen Order right now on PC. He says to remind everyone, it's free for Amazon Prime members until February 2nd, which is like in 2 days. So I
Yeah,
guess you need to, I guess that means you can own it for the next
yeah.
2 days. So do it now.
Well,
What
he
Unless
did
you
you
he
just
had
get?
said last time you can download it for free and then just play it whenever you get a chance, but you
The
don't have to
Jedi
play it
Fallen
by
Order?
the second.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for PC.
And lastly, he
That's
says,
funny.
I like that this gave a mini Mando backstory since the end of season 2. It would have been too confusing if he just showed up with no explanation of how he got there with a new ship and was struggling with the dark saber. Sure, I like that
I want to
idea.
touch on that too. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that, but we'll get to Joe.
Yeah, Joe, you want to respond to JC?
Well, yeah, I mean, the problem that I have with the Book of Boba is it's just the pacing, and I think it's something that not just the Book of Boba faces, it's most of these new series that have been started on Disney Plus, even with WandaVision, they've all had pacing issues.
Wait,
Book of
did you like
Boba,
this episode?
this is the thing. I thought it was a good episode of The
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian. However, it wasn't the Book of Boba Fett. And I was hoping that the Book of Boba, regardless of the pacing issues, something would come of it. And we've gotten nothing but flashback scenes, hardly any story, to really put your teeth into, something that you can really bite on and say, okay, this is really what Book of Boba is supposed to be. Right now, Book of Boba to me is a show who's kind of lost its way. It's kind of confused as to what direction do they want to go. They want to go ahead and do a lot of fan service, which is doing a lot of callbacks. I get that. But what type of story are you trying to tell? And then you have The Mandalorian coming in here, which I think they could have just done a real quick couple of minutes, introduce him. Hey, we want to come and join our army. We know we could really use your help. Sure, and there you go. He's on his way. They didn't have to make the whole episode about him. And I think the Book of Boba just gets away from what it's supposed to be, and that is the story of when Boba Fett. I think they do a lot of calling back flashbacks.
Mhm.
And to me, I'm not expecting much from the show. I
Yeah.
just was hoping, okay, this is going to be episode 5. Maybe we'll finally get a little bit more for as far as the identity of the show. Where are we going with this? What's going to happen with the Pike Syndicate? I'm not going to expect a full-on battle. It's just going to be the lead up to the finale. Okay, let's go ahead and see what you know hired guns are going to join. What kind of journey are they going to be on? To me, that was going to be part of the story that I was interested in. Seeing Fennec go out and try to recruit people. How is she going to do that? What is Boba going to do hanging back here on Tatooine and trying to go ahead and recruit hired help here? Maybe he sent her on that quest so he could go ahead and try to get some of these bounty hunters that are up for hire here on Tatooine. I wanted to see that happen. Unfortunately, we get something totally unexpected, which is the Mandalorian, the new episode of the Mandalorian. I thought it was a good episode. No, don't get me wrong. I love the episode of The Mandalorian. However, this is the Book of Boba, and for that reason,
Right.
I think Book of Boba is going to have some major issues. And unfortunately for me, it's already a fail. I just don't have enough to keep me going anymore. I'm going to watch it, yeah, eventually. I'm not going to be excited and be like, "Oh my god, it's a Book of Boba. I got to watch it." You know what? I'm going to wait for all this to finish, then I'll go back and watch them all at the same time. You're not going to get me like that, Disney. I see what you're doing. It's just not working. Not for me.
How JC knew to start his notes with "Tell Joe to stop hating."
Well, because
How did
Joe's
he know
been
to do
bitching
that?
about it since day one.
Yeah,
It's all
and it's not
good.
just me. A
No,
lot of
listen.
other people have had the same
I
issue.
Yeah.
So
I'm
to
not
me,
doubting that. I'm not doubting that. You know what? You actually raised some very excellent questions, and I would love for us to try and figure this out. In this episode, Mandalorian says, "I got to go visit a little friend first, right? Right. Before he will join up with Boba Fett, right?
Hmm.
Okay. We only have 2 more episodes of the season for Boba Fett. So does that mean we're gonna see Mando in the next episode go visit Grogu, or
No.
right? It doesn't kind of make sense, but there's only 2 episodes left in the season
Well,
of Book of Boba Fett. So maybe if they're
I
gonna
don't.
hold off this reunion until the Mandalorian season, then does that mean we're not going to see the big battle against the Pike Syndicate in this first season of Boba Fett? What's going to happen? Are we going to see the big battle against the Pikes at the end of the season in the next 2 episodes? Or are they just not going to show us this reunion with Mando and Grogu? Or will they show us a reunion in a flashback once we get to the season 3 of The Mandalorian? That's also a possibility.
can I
That's
interject?
that's
Can I say
my.
something?
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Jericho go first. Jericho go first. Come on.
Go ahead, Jericho,
my
and then
my thought is, for one thing, we did not need an entire episode of seeing where Mando's been. Um, we'll touch on it a little bit more, but what I'm thinking is, because yes, this is a Book of Boba Fett, and what we're gonna do is we're not gonna. It's not necessary to see Mando reunite with Grogu, because that's a separate journey from what he's supposed to be doing right now. Um, so he's gonna go off. He's gonna go do his own thing. The next episode of Book of Boba is probably gonna be more recruiting, maybe. But right now, it's not vital that we see them. We want to see them reunite, but it's not vital right now to the story. Um, and then what's going to happen is, yeah, the final episode of a Book of Boba Fett is going to be the battle. It's going to be the battle with Boba and his new army against the Pike Syndicate. If anything, Mando might not even show up till midway through the battle, because he was busy, or maybe something kind of came up when he was meeting, or when he's reuniting. Um, but I don't. That's how I think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to dedicate another episode to showing more of the Mandalorian.
Gotcha, gotcha. Real quick, Brett's in the chat.
Uh-oh.
He says Bosk was on Jabba's sail barge in Return of the Jedi, so maybe he's still on Tatooine. I'm still hoping we'll see either Bosk or Dengar. Dude, that would be freaking
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
for
I could see
sure.
that.
I think
Joe, your thoughts, man?
my thoughts are there's one or two things that's going to happen with the Book of Boba Fett, and since they've given you a shit ton of backstory, and I think way too much, and not enough of the actual substance story, the core of the actual story itself. You just get little glimpses. I think if you kind of chain together all the deeper story, what Book of Boba was supposed to be, it's probably not going to be more than just maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe even less than that, as far as what we know. So when they do stuff like this, they're going to do one or two things. They're not going to reveal everything in one season. They're going to want it to carry over, which is why should they show you the Pike Syndicate fight right now? Maybe the slow burn, the lead up is him recruiting, and then it'll lead up into them actually going and fighting with the Pike Syndicate. Maybe this is the route they're going to kind of put everybody on a trajectory to get them involved with how they're going to recruit.
Right.
Two, the other thing I think is going to happen is, and it could be bold by Disney if they decide to do this. What if they go ahead and have a crossover, meaning Book of Boba actually leads into the new season of The Mandalorian? The two stories are intertwined, meaning you're getting a part one with the Book of Boba, and to see where the rest of this story goes, you're going to have to watch the new season of The Mandalorian for the big payoff.
Ooh.
You know,
I can
to
Okay.
get
me,
behind
Okay.
that.
that's a good segue because this is the only reason that to me it would make sense to have a full on episode of The Mandalorian right in the middle
Yeah.
of a Book of Boba because you're trying to cross the two over. You know, to me, that would not be a bold move by Disney, but it would be something that would excite the fans nonetheless.
And
I was just looking forward to a one off series, or not a one off, but just concentrating on the Book of Boba. That's the issue that I have with the series.
you know what? And that makes sense, Joe. What you just said about having the part one in Boba Fett and then part two in Mando, because I like I said, I like that we saw Mando again, and we saw him reunite with the remaining Mandalorians that were in his camp. Um, we see what happened, with the spear, and we see that he's struggling and needs to be trained with the dark saber. So I liked all that. And again, we didn't need an entire episode dedicated to it, but it makes sense now because for me it was like, okay, we could have seen this in season 3 of Mandalorian. We could have seen what he was doing during that time, even if it was like a quick little flashback. But now, if we see having it happen this way, where we see an entire episode, now it's like kind of vital, not vital, but it's more important because we're seeing we're gonna need to see what happened maybe between when he leaves to go see Grogu and then when he shows up for the battle. I'm trying to think. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
because
confusing
they're
myself. Yeah,
gonna
but that
start off with Grogu. That's like another series. You know what I mean?
right,
Yeah, like
right, right,
another
right.
season. Yeah.
Because okay, this is what I was trying to see. So I was getting off track then. Okay, we could have easily had in Mandalorian. We could have easily had where he calls back and says like, "Oh, I helped out Boba Fett at one point. Like I'm maybe I'm wounded from this battle that we had. And they maybe show a couple of quick flashbacks, and now or whatever, something happens. But the fact that we got this entire episode, maybe it does make sense because now we don't have to necessarily. It might have seemed maybe out of place in season 3 if they're not going to do this part 1 part 2 kind of deal with the battle. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it is important that we got the entire episode dedicated to Mando, but again, it's like it's a I don't know. It's hard to justify why they did it. I don't know. It was a great episode and all that, and there was a lot of cool stuff. But did we need to see all that? Did we need to know that he got the new ship? And I mean, because we would assume, like he shows up to go fight. For one, we know that he owes Boba a favor because Boba saved him. Um, so we wouldn't like be asking all these questions if he showed up during the battle. We're not going to say, oh well, when did they? How did he meet up with? Did he meet up with Finnick or what? And how did he get that ship? The Razor Crest was destroyed. All you know what I mean? Like all this stuff. So I don't know. It's like it was good that it happened and confusing.
I'm gonna side with Joe on this one. Shocking, but
Yeah.
these
First
aren't
time, I think.
what makes the most sense. Hear me out. What makes the most sense is these two shows are not separate. Like the book of Boba Fett should have just been called The Mandalorian Season 3, and we have 5 episodes that are dedicated to Boba Fett, and
Yeah.
then the two of them, their paths cross. And so maybe we'll see the fight against the Pike Syndicate in Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Possibly. If not,
Yeah.
then all they're going to do is you're going to show the fights again. The fights. You can show the fight. Show the fight. Christ. Show the fight against the Pikes in these last 2 episodes, and then if we're lucky, we'll see this reunion with Mando as a flashback, in season 3 of The Mandalorian. I could
Yeah.
see it being either way. Not a big deal to me. Um, but yeah, it's odd. You don't have a long season. S- the only other thing is like this starfighter is going to play a major part in the conflict that's to come, and so you have to show where Mando gets this firepower from. He can't just show up, I guess, like y'all mentioned, in this big fight with like this starfighter that's like OP and just starts mowing down pikes left and right
Well,
without
but that's what
some
I'm
sort of
saying. Like
backstory.
for me, I would need the backstory because I would either A, assume we're gonna see it in season three, or
Nobody would do.
B,
Nobody would think that though.
well, for me, it's like, or B, it could be okay. At some point, he had to get upgrades and he had to, get gear again and get all this stuff. My only thing, and I don't know, it's hard because even if he comes in kicking ass with the dark saber, I would be like, okay, he got some training at some point. I don't, and again, maybe we'll see that in season three. I don't have to see it right now. I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't like this book of Boba Fett finale because they're not telling me how he got trained and they're not telling me that how he got his ship and all. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, maybe other people feel differently, but I don't know. What's
Uh,
BMAX saying?
B Mac, he says if we see the battle with the Pike Syndicate, it won't end with that. We'll see some sort of twist, like the Hutt set the whole thing up
Yep,
to weaken the
yep,
Pike
yep, yep.
Syndicate, and then plan their move on Boba.
Dude,
Maybe
I'm
we'll get
telling
a
you.
glimpse of a larger plan involving Thrawn. Ooh, it cut him off at the
Oh,
end. Thrawn. There's a name we
yep.
haven't heard in a while. In a minute. How dope would that be? And of course, Thrawn's gonna lead into the Ahsoka series,
Hmm.
which has just cast Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's just a
As
goddess.
Ventress, she has to be Ventress.
She has to be a Ventress, right?
It's
We're
so
all hoping
badass.
that. That would be amazing. I can't think of who else she might be playing, but I'm so down for that. No, that would be dope, Brett. I hope that's the thing
That's
that's
a good
happening.
that's a good idea because I've still from beginning I'm still thinking the Huts are behind all this because they gave up way too easy and I still think the Rancor was some kind of Trojan horse. I think I don't remember if it was BMAC or somebody else said it, but they said that it was a Trojan horse because I mean they just like, oh, I'm
Somebody did
sorry,
say
we were
that,
set
yeah.
up. Yeah, like the twins were just like, oh, we were all set up here. We're calling off the assassination. Sorry about that. Here's a huge ass gift as a apology. I still, it's the Huts. They're freaking devious and they're snakes.
Yeah.
They're sluggish
Uh,
snakes.
real quick, last sort of Easter eggs on the episode. Um, keep forgetting her name. Peli Motto. When she's grabbed by the Womp Rat, she sort of falls horizontally behind a couple of crates or something. Very reminiscent to one of the scenes in Jurassic Park where
Yeah,
somebody's like grabbed by a velociraptor and then like pulled.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome. Um, which Bryce Dallas Howard is a part of that franchise, of course.
there's one for me that I'm
So,
going to call out in a little bit too, but
well, I hope I don't. Is it the metal bar?
no,
Okay, the metal
it's
bar
the very very end. Yeah, go ahead.
that the Jawas they give to
Oh yeah,
Mando
Yeah.
is almost the same uh, bar that Han tried to use to pry or keep the doors to the garbage compactor
yeah.
open with. That didn't work. We all remember that. And I want to call out this is the first time that we've seen Mandalore in live action. They did a flashback on what
Yeah.
they called the Night of a Thousand Tears, I think is what they called
Yeah.
it. And they showed the destruction of Mandalore. So pretty freaking epic that we got to see like a quick shot of that battle and how like brutal it was.
Yeah, and then
Um,
another thing that the I guess the what's the girl's name? Pad Versla. Pad
Visla.
Vizsla, yeah. What she said is that the reason that some of the Mandalorians were able to survive is that there was a
Are you talking
fact.
about the armor?
The armor, yeah. She said that during that night, the way that some of them were able to survive is that they were on another moon. So they were able to not only
Mm,
escape, but also scatter to
Concordia.
scatter the numbers. Yeah. That way it's harder for, the Empire to track them down and off them. So they had to go in hiding. Basically like the Jedi, was their order
yeah,
66. This is what happened to the Mandalorians because they opposed republic or rule. They didn't want to be ruled by the emperor and the
Yeah.
empire.
Jericho, what was your Easter egg?
my it was more so it was sort of an homage, and I wish JC was on here for this one. But at the end, when Mando is flying by the shuttle in the Naboo fighter, and he like looks over to the kid. Conveniently, it's the same kid that he was kind of messing with on the ship. But that was like an homage to Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman, the very first
Everything
one,
Superman. I'm
for
just
real.
kidding.
Because if you remember when Clark, high school Clark, is running by the train when he's like kind of testing out his powers and stuff, he's running by the train and he's basically keeping up with it. And Lois, a very young Lois, looks out and waves to him, and he just like kind of looks over and then takes off. And this is exactly what happened in the show. And I was really hoping JC would be on, but I wonder if JC kind of caught that or if anybody else caught that. But I thought that was just so cool.
It kind of felt reminiscent. I didn't know if I felt like it was Superman or something else. I might have.
I'll find a clip and send it to you, and that way you can
I
listen
believe
to me
you.
and shut up. Yeah.
No, no, I believe you. It felt like somebody would have been like a kid would have been on an airplane watching. Uh, I don't know, Superman or Iron Man or somebody flying alongside
No, Ironman's not that cool.
the
No worries.
Rocketeer. I don't really know. I can't think of who it
Rocketeer.
might have
One of the
been.
things that I really did like too about the episode, the callback was, or the Easter egg, in my opinion, was the ship itself. But more importantly, you could still see that it still had some of its original coloration on there, the yellow, that
Yeah.
Starfighter was known for in the Phantom Menace. And not only that, but they even had the same hieroglyphic writing on the side, right where you go into the
Yes.
cockpit. Even like, just looking at the controls, reminiscent of Anakin, flying it and, the Phantom Menace, and turning the switches on and controlling the
hmm
ship itself. I thought the flight, the test flight through Beggar's Canyon was a nice touch. I knew everybody was going to
Oh
geek
yeah.
out on that. BD1 was also another callback. It was great to see it because the little droid even helped Mando put one of the metal, I guess, pieces of the actual starfighter on the ship because it's a puzzle. And he's like, I wonder where it goes. And just like in Jedi Fallen Order, how he helps, and he kind of projects, that holographic projection. He kind of did that for Mando and showed him exactly where it goes. I was like, "Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
call. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. But one of the things that we haven't even talked about is what the issues that Mando has had wielding the dark saber. And one of the reasons I think he has issues is because I think it was in an episode. I think it was like in a comic book that I read. I think it was in Ahsoka comic book, or a reference to it, where it said that each of the crystals, the kyber crystals, they have like their own personalities, right? So you have to cleanse the crystal. In other words, in order to kind of rid it of that so it can go ahead and be able to be wielded by that Jedi Knight. That's why they choose their kyber crystal, put it into the actual lightsaber. They're able to
Yeah.
wield it with such precision because it takes on some of their personality, and it's kind of almost like a living being. It's like a sentient being in a way. So now
Yeah.
that Mando is wielding this sword, the dark saber, some of that energy or that personality traits from its prior wielders is in that crystal. So in order for Mando to kind of be able to wield it, he has to kind of it has to take on his personality trait. And the thing is that it can't do that because one, he's not strong enough to wield it yet because he lacks focus. And that's the thing with
Right.
this dark saber, is that in order for you to wield it, you have to have complete focus when you're going to wield the weapon. And another thing about the dark saber is that it when you ignite it, it takes some of your life force away from you as well in order for you to actually wield it. So if you don't have focus and you're not trained in, you know, the techniques on how to be able to learn this weapon, you're going to be lost, and probably that's the reason why these guys complain all the time. It's so heavy. It's so heavy.
Hmm.
It's so heavy. Every time I, take a blow at somebody with it, it seems to get heavier and heavier. I think it's because the saber is drawing so much energy of their life force away from them that they feel it's getting heavier, when in turn it's actually making them weaker because they lack the focus to wield the weapon. So that's
Right.
going to be an interesting dynamic there to see how he can gain his focus. Maybe once he sees baby Grogu, is he going to be able to master the dark saber?
That's interesting. I wonder if they'll dive into that. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, it's
Kind
kind
of
of
felt
like,
Uh,
bad for what's that guy? What was the other Mandalorian, that the one that battled him, fought him for the saber?
Moff. It was
Paz Visa.
uh,
Yeah,
no one
that dude. Kind of felt bad that he still lost. I mean, we expected him to lose, but because didn't he say that his ancestors were the ones that kind of like forged it,
forged it.
and then
Yeah,
Yeah,
he ended up losing it. Like that kind
yeah.
of sucked.
Because the
Like poor guy.
Mandalorian was the one that forged it. The man that was the Mandalorian who was a Jedi Knight. You know,
Right.
so it has certain properties that you're not going to find in another saber. It's unique to that particular
Yeah.
saber because of the Beskar that's used to make it as well. So interesting, nonetheless.
Hmm.
Brett says for the casting of Mary Elizabeth that he thinks she'll be either second sister or seventh sister for Mary,
Okay.
which are both what did you call them earlier, Jericho? Inquisitors,
Yeah,
Inquisitor type villains. So
that's
yeah,
pretty
no,
cool.
that'd
That's a
be
good
that'd be
idea.
pretty dope. And says that
Mm.
could also be a lead into Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Hey, that'd be dope. Which we're supposed to be getting hopefully a trailer for during Super Bowl Sunday. I think that's what everyone's thoughts are. Super Bowl Sunday, drop a trailer, and then start the Obi-Wan series on Star Wars Day, May the 4th, which is also Rob's birthday, but we won't mention that too many times. Yeah, we've actually talked a lot about this episode, so we're gonna go ahead and stop there. But we want to hear from you guys. What was your favorite part of the book of Mandalore? I mean, Boba Fett, episode 5. What was your favorite callback or Easter egg, or just your general thoughts about it? Again, peculiar, but I do think that the conflict with the Pikes will probably happen in these last two episodes, and then maybe this Grogu reunion with Mando is just a flashback we get in the third season of the Mandalorian, or if not, maybe it'll be a quick little side mission they'll start out with in the next episode, since his new ship can get two places pretty quickly. All right. Next we're gonna be talking all about episode 5 of everybody's favorite new series, Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
And this
No,
episode
no
was
joke, Ted. When when we were doing the intros, I totally had a plan to have the music going for the intro, and I was gonna do like a little bit of the dance. I didn't practice it or anything, but um, I've just seen the intro enough where I feel like I could have done a little bit. But of course, I had all these technical difficulties. But
it's all
yeah,
right.
that was the plan.
Go ahead and get that all set up, and you could do it at the end of this topic. There you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Episode 5 of Peacemaker, titled Monkey Dory, and the quick little summary goes like this. Gonna start out with the fact that Superman has a poop fetish. Uh,
That's so
and
random too.
secondly, Glenn Ty, the business card from the end of the last episode, is a lead for the viscous food that the butterflies have been consuming. The Glenn Ty production plant is where the team is headed, and upon their arrival, they discover it is filled. Is that me? It is
No.
filled
Yeah.
with butterflies. During the mission, Harcourt and Vigilante are trapped in a computer room with Charlie, a super gorilla who is sawed in half by Diebeard, Economos. Mern replaces a police captain with a plant in order to keep the local law enforcement off of Peacemaker. Adebayo, back at the office, puts on Peacemaker's X-ray helmet and discovers the butterfly in Mern's head, and Mern chases her outside as the episode ends. Jericho, your thoughts about episode 5 of Peacemaker, sir?
So first off, fuck that comment about Superman. I don't think he has a poop fetish. I think Peacemaker was just full of shit. Um,
He
it
Googled
was
it,
a
sir. Google doesn't lie.
that's true. I thought it was a great episode. Like so far there hasn't been any kind of disappointments. Um, I, there's a lot going on. Part of me is starting to believe that these butterflies are not, in fact, they're not what we think they are. Because I think in one of the episodes they mentioned they were like refugees, right? Like, didn't their planet or something like that get destroyed? So they're refugees, but I think they're hostile. Not necessarily hostile, but they feel they're protective. Like they're going to attack when they feel attacked, basically. Um, and it makes sense when you think about it because look at the factory. They attacked because there's humans there. Like there's people spying on them, so they go and attack them. But I think maybe it's like almost like an insatiable thirst once they do that because they want to eliminate the threat from their they're just trying to like find a planet to survive on, and they happen to be on Earth. That's what I'm starting to believe. But I could be
Did
wrong.
did they call that out that they were from
I
that they were
I need to
refugees from
rewatch it,
another
but I
planet?
thought it was in episode 2 where somebody mentions that how they were like refugees or something like that, or they
Um,
I don't know. I have to look it up. But if that's the case, that's where my thought process came from. Um, but outside of that, I mean, it was again great episode. Uh, Detective Song proving that that it was in fact Peacemaker's prince. White Dragon's innocent, but then somebody steps in and says, "Nope, nope, it's White Dragon. We need to keep him in jail." Um, which I don't know what that's going to lead to. Um, but a lot of cool stuff, and then that whole reveal with Adebayo finding out about Mern, I thought was really cool too. Everyone, I was reading all these comments on these sites, and people were like, "Well, why did she yell? Why didn't she stay calm?" And
right?
it's like, well, come on now, like what do you expect? Like that's a natural reaction, But I don't think he hurt her. Like I think she's safe. I think she's okay because he made it sound. Mern's been making himself sound like he's been saying over and over again like I'm a changed man. I'm a changed man. I don't think it's necessarily because he got taken over by the butterflies. I think he's a butterfly who's trying to bring down maybe a bad group of butterflies. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how to
I know what you
explain it.
mean.
It's kind of
All
like
right.
Venom. They have a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. Carnage was bad, but Venom is trying to stop him. He's the same species. So I'm thinking it's something like that. But I still feel like Mern. I don't know because there's times where you kind of forget he's a butterfly. Like there's just things that he does where it seems human. Like when he was in the office at the end, I don't know what he was tinkering with, but why was he there and why was he just doing something and not not being butterfly esque? But I don't know. Like he it seemed like he had different tendencies compared to some of the other butterflies that we've seen. That's what
No,
makes me think he's sort of a good guy.
you're not far off because I raised the question in episode 2 when we found out Mern was a butterfly. Maybe that was 3.
Three.
In
Three.
episode 2, in episode 2, though, their mission to take out the butterfly family, the politician and his family, he wasn't trying to prevent it from happening. If anything, like,
Right.
he was the one pushing it forward. Take them out. Take the kids out. Take the wife out. Like, he's definitely not working with the butterflies that they're
Yeah.
eliminating. He's doing everything they can to make sure these missions are succeeding. So either butterflies are good in general and he's the bad one. It'd be hard to
Hmm.
kind of make that story work out. Or vice versa. Butterflies are all bad, and he's sort of trying to prevent a complete uh, takeover of the planet for
Because
whatever reason.
even Judo Master, he was kind of cut off. I think in episode, it might have been episode 2 when they tried to take out the family. Um, Judo Master was trying to say something about the butterflies as well, and I don't remember what happened, but he like got knocked out, or I don't remember if this is when Diebeard attacked him or what. But he was saying something along the lines, and he was like, "No, but the butterflies are," and then he got cut off. So I think it's again, I think there's still more to it than just simply they're trying to take over.
Plot twist is coming.
Yep.
Joe, your thoughts on episode 5, man?
One of the things that I thought was hilarious, but also kind of brought some more insight into what the butterflies are capable of doing, is the gorilla. They were able
Yeah.
to take over the gorilla and kind of humanize him a little bit to where he had actual cohesive thoughts, like he was able to be able to attack Philly, he wasn't just
Hmm.
doing it mindlessly. Uh, he could even speak a little bit, reminiscent of Planet of the Apes, until he met his demise, and Diebeard came and cut him in half with the chainsaw, which was pretty badass, and
I felt
there's
so bad, actually. No, I felt I felt terrible for the
I
gorilla.
didn't feel bad. No.
he was
It
trying
was
to
a
kill him.
talking gorilla. You don't kill a talking gorilla.
It's either him,
um,
you either kill him
if
or you
Flash has
kill
taught us
him.
anything, talking gorillas are bad.
Grog.
Grog, yeah, super gorilla. No.
Yeah.
Grodd. Actually, I kind of felt like the gorilla was another super intelligent ape, much like Grodd. They just couldn't use Grodd because they knew he was going to cut him in half. So much like Brett saying he's guessing Charlie is from Gorilla City. Yeah, I'm down with
Yeah.
that. I don't think he was just. I don't think, but I could be wrong, that the butterfly gave him those sort of speaking capabilities. It felt more like a replacement for Grodd, and I'm gonna go with that for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
We'll
That's
see.
a good idea.
It'd be interesting nonetheless. I just thought that it was just a normal gorilla that the butterfly had inhabited
Could be,
and
could be.
gave them cognitive thought, speech, all that kind of, because it's part of the butterfly, kind of meshing with them as far as being a symbiote, and taking
Because
over
that
their.
that makes sense though. Because if you think about it, like Myrn, the girl. Well, we never heard the we never heard the girl that Peacemaker hooked up with, but we never heard her speak.
Hmm.
Um, but Myrn and the family, the political family, I mean, they all spoke. So maybe because when you saw them get shot, like the head explode, like it didn't look like they had a brain at all, and I don't think it was just because of the gun to it. Like the results from it. I think maybe they do have some kind of speaking ability, and
Here,
or you know,
the
Yeah.
biggest. Go ahead.
No, I said Brett brought up a great one too, because I was going to talk about it. The 11th Street Kids reference. And you see that other side of Hardcourt where she's actually taking the time to take a
yes,
picture of the group. And not only does she take a picture while she's at the bar, where she likes to go and drink and just get away from everybody, she's texting the group and sending that picture,
mm-hmm.
showing
She's
that,
finally
yeah,
feeling like a team.
yeah, they're kind of growing on her a little bit,
Yeah.
I was gonna say another reason why I kind of feel like the gorilla was probably like a super intelligent gorilla, much like Grodd, was because of where they found him. They found Charlie in sort of this high tech computer room, and
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that leads me to believe that he was put in that position because he can have some sort of heightened sense or intellect to be able to, run that computer room because it would be too advanced for any
Right.
normal human or host to do. If they would have found him in any other room or like working security, sure, like just any old plain gorilla. But I feel like because they found him in sort of this massive central computer room, makes me think that there was a sort of advancement in this gorilla's intellect that needed to be harnessed in order to work this computer system for whatever reason.
That makes
I don't
sense.
know.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I just think it was just, there was a lot of sensitive information in that room because everything's handled with servers or
I
communication.
think the gorilla was using the computers.
I don't think he was. I think it's just like you
He
like a
could have
drug
been
dealer.
just the muscle.
Like a drug dealer, yeah, like a drug dealer. You have your all your stash, you're going to want to put a tiger or a lion in front of that so nobody will go in there and steal it. I think it's the same principle. This is your stash of information that you don't want getting out. So what are you going to do? You're going to have a guard dog, aka a
Yeah.
guard gorilla, to come in there and guard the place. And if somebody tries to go in there and steal your shit, he offs them. So I think that's what that was.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Guard
He's the
dog.
muscle.
Let's
He's the muscle.
let's talk about that PowerPoint presentation, man.
That
Oh,
was
God.
hysterical.
Oh my gosh,
And he
And I
was
think
that was
legit.
there's
so funny.
Yeah, he
I
was
think
legit.
there's
His feelings hurt because Peacemaker was making fun of it.
You know what I love about this show too is like Peacemaker. uh, He seems like a dumbass, but a genius at the same time. He's like that guy. I don't know how to explain it. He's like that guy that you hate because he's a d-bag, but then you also want to be his friend because some of the shit he says is just so fucking hilarious. And it's almost like, hey, I think like that too. Like that's kind of my dark humor. Like, but he's like a dumbass because like listen, like the list of people he was just listing that the fingerprints could have been planted on, of all people, why his dad, and he went on a good 2 3 minute rant of just listing people, and then even just making fun of for no reason, making fun of Economos for the presentation, like like I don't know. And it's not until he finds out that Economos likes the 11th Street kids that they finally started to become, kind of buddies, like kind of came around. And then he saves everyone by, slicing up the gorilla. That's when he's like, "You're a stud," like that's my dude right there.
Got some
But
street cred.
man, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't know, man. Like Peacemaker is just so God. He's like a dick. He's a genius, and he's a freaking dumbass at the same time. Like he's just so funny. I
How about
love the
that
show.
that one scene with him? The one scene with him and Eagly. He lets him out. Eagly goes and flies, and comes and brings back some food. And he's like, "No, it's
He's
okay. You eat it."
yeah. Does he seem kind of depressed too, right? Peacemaker.
yeah.
Like when he's by himself, right? He's kind of depressed. Did y'all notice the butterfly was even trying to console him a little bit?
Yeah,
Like the jar, So that's what I'm thinking. Like, what is going on with these butterflies? Like, they're not
There's
all bad.
we're gonna find out. I mean, I don't know how
Yeah,
many episodes are left, but yeah, I mean,
it's like 2 or 3.
ever since we found out Mern was a butterfly, there's something else. Not even just Mern, but also Adebayo's mom. What's Waller? Like
Yeah.
Waller, sort of overlooking the group covertly by planting her daughter. It
Hmm.
it gives you another sort of subplot that we're not kind of
the diary. Ted, the
privy to here.
her
Oh yeah,
planning
I'm planting
the
a
diary
diary.
is huge. Her planning the diary so Peacemaker could find it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So all of this stuff, like major twists, major turns, are coming in this episode.
Yeah.
More mermaid emojis, hopefully, are also coming in this episode.
Oh my God.
I love it. This episode was hilarious and action packed, just the same. And I love that the cast all has a sort of equal value on the show. Like
Yeah.
everybody kind of fulfills their worth on the show. It's a small cast and there's not a lot happening, but you don't care because them just conversing with one another is
Hmm.
entertaining in and of itself. And I appreciated, the story being as intricate as it was. There's a alien invasion, and even as ridiculous as it sounds, you have this group of five people, none of which are superheroes in any sort of way. They're the only ones dealing with an alien invasion, and it sounds absurd, and it
Yeah.
sounds ridiculous, but it's supposed to be, and that's what this show is all about. It's about being absurd and ridiculous, but it's also about underdogs. It's an underdog tale,
Yep.
and sometimes that's all you need. But yeah, loving the show. I think it's everybody's favorite new show to watch out there. This one was absolutely hysterical. I was laughing nonstop from beginning to end, and can't wait to see what else happens. Joe, any more thoughts on this episode, man?
I just want to see a little bit more about what's going on with the butterflies. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
talk about them, and we want to find out a little bit more about what their motive is for one. Which I think we're gonna probably get a slow burn to that, and two, I want to know how they kind of work. As an entity. Are they just part of something bigger? Because there's so many of them. I mean, they have to find a way to communicate, like I told you. So I'm interested to see if they do, in fact, have that hive mentality. Excuse me. And the second thing is, I think Peacemaker having that butterfly with him is going to be kind of like the ringer. They're
Yeah.
going to have to maybe utilize that butterfly in some way. And then they have that little ship that goes along with it, and they're going to probably get mad at him and be like, "You've had this here the whole time and you didn't even share it with us."
Hmm.
That kind of thing is going to happen because the show is going that route where it's just outrageous. And Peacemaker's going to be like, "Well, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I just wanted to bring the little bugger home, have a little pet for Eagly."
You're exactly right. I mean like that's what I was saying. Like he doesn't think sometimes, and he doesn't think like this stuff's important. Like this butterfly. Because he even told them that it just kind of flew off, right? Or
Yeah,
or
he
I think
shot
he
it. He
shot it or
said he
something.
shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he lied to them about that, and now he's hiding the ship from them. Um, I don't know. Like I don't think he's double crossing them or anything like that. I'm just I think he just doesn't think.
He's just
He
kind of
just doesn't
ignorant.
think all the time. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm curious where it's gonna go with the butterflies. Um, I hope I'm curious about with his dad too, like the white dragon. Like, is that gonna turn into something too? Like, is he gonna end up
Yeah.
being the antagonist at maybe at the end of the episode or something? Um,
Yeah, I think that's
but
exactly what's gonna happen, Jericho. I think that's leading up to is that him and the dad are gonna have to go at it. In order
yeah,
for Peacemaker to earn his dad's respect, he might even have to
exactly.
kill him. And then he's
Yeah,
gonna say, "I'm proud of you" at the end, you know, when he
yeah,
does something like that. But again,
yeah.
it's gonna
I mean,
that's
because
Peacemaker.
doesn't his dad basically blame Peacemaker for his brother's death?
Yeah. He just basically
So
told him he never loved him.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Peacemaker still like fights for his love. Um, but yeah, so I'm curious where it's gonna go. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, there's like two or three episodes left, maybe two, something like that. So
One of
there's
those 5.
something's going on. Something big has to happen. And but I like what Ted said, how there's an alien invasion, and these ragtag little team are no one's responsible for it. For saving the planet. So I'm curious how it's gonna continue on from there.
There's 3 episodes left. The next
Three. Okay.
one, uniquely titled "Mern After Reading." I love these episode
Love these
titles.
titles. Yeah, these are awesome.
Also, little bit of an Easter egg in the trailer for Peacemaker. There was a newspaper heading that read that he had once defeated Kite Man.
Oh,
Reference to the obscure villain Kite Man. Oh no, not was he a villain? Yeah, he was a villain, right?
Yeah,
yeah, he was in Harley Quinn.
a
Pretty sure he
dumbass
was a
villain.
villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go. What was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember now.
yeah. He
Oh,
was in yeah, because he was basically didn't he date wasn't it Poison Ivy in Harley
Yeah.
Quinn?
yeah.
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 Brett
He's
says
a villain.
he's curious to see if Judah Master joins their group. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Judo master. He's still alive, by the way.
Which was weird. Bullet to the chest, like no
Yeah.
surgeries or anything. They just put a bandage on him and yeah,
And
be good to
beat the
go.
hell out of him with the crowbar too.
Yeah, we talked we talked about that.
It's like Jesus.
Yeah, actually if you saw the trailer for next week's episode, a lot of what we talked about is definitely going to be happening. So expect, well, I won't say it if nobody saw it, but a lot of the things that we sort of see, coming to be part of the story is definitely going to start unraveling in the next episode. So 3 episodes left, and it's getting exciting. I don't know how you stop an alien invasion in 3 episodes, but maybe this will be something that carries over into season 2, which they're already talking about.
Yeah.
Season 2 of Peacemaker already in development. James Gunn is extremely excited. I think he also mentioned a possible second spin-off from the
I've heard
Suicide
of a second
Squad.
spinoff. Yeah.
I don't remember. He didn't
He didn't
say
say
who it would
who.
be,
Yeah.
but take your pick. It could be Idris Elba's character. It could be Ratcatcher 2. Um, I don't think Harley Quinn or anything like that. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cool. Just
All
heard some
right.
gunshots outside. Nice.
Are you
Huh.
sure? You're in the hood, Jericho, so it could either be gunshots or fireworks.
Oh, it's gunshots.
It's just
Yeah.
another day.
Haven't heard fireworks like that.
Just another day in paradise, man.
Yep.
That was our discussion on episode 5 of Peacemaker. Let us know what your favorite parts were. Brett says the Weasel Show. Why not? Do it.
Hey, I'm down for that. Yeah.
I'm rooting for
Bring
the
it.
weasel, man.
Let us know in the comments below what your favorite moments were of Peacemaker. All right. This next one, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on because I feel like only one thing happened really, and that was the major reveal of the thing in the mines, wearing the suit of one Doomsday, but
Yeah.
revealing that it in fact was Bizarro. Jericho. Actually, before I get to Jericho, let's go ahead and see what JC thought about this because I'm sure he had a lot of things to say. Jericho says, "Love the bizarre reveal."
JC.
What did I say?
He said Jericho says.
Oh, sorry, JC. JC says, "Love the bizarre reveal. Opens a lot of possibilities going forward. Do we have to learn Bizarro speak now? Shit is confusing. Yes, we do. Will we see Bizarro Lois? Bizarro Kent kids? Yeah, all very good questions. Jericho, your thoughts on the reveal in episode 3, The Thing in the Mines?
I thought it was a very cool reveal. Definitely a big twist. Um, I mean, we all thought even, and I'm gonna stop listening to that EP, but even the EP said, "Yeah, it's Doomsday, and you'll see him, the big reveal in episode 3." But not Doomsday. It's freaking Bizarro. Um, I thought it's really cool, and I don't know. It makes sense now, as far as like why Clark's been having these, these headaches and these visions and all that. Um, I'm curious how he got there. I'm curious, has he been there for decades or whatever centuries? Um, who knows? But I thought it was really cool. And y'all saw, I was texting you as I was watching it. Like, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be Doomsday, and then for what made me think instantly if it was Bizarro, because he started his power, or I mean, he was flying, and I've never seen anywhere where Doomsday flies besides jumping really high. I've never
True.
seen him flying around, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's Bizarro because he's kind of matching up with Clark, like speed and everything, and it's not going to be another Kryptonian reveal like with Morgan Edge and all that. I didn't think it was going to be anybody like that. So that's why for me instantly I thought Bizarro, and then sure enough it ends up being Bizarro. Um, really cool. To me it was the only, not to hate on the episode or anything, but to me it was the only big thing that happened. Um, I mean, there was a lot of little things. I mean, we have the side story with Jordan. Um, Jonathan now going down the wrong path. Uh, Lois, just everything going on with Lois now with her whole that story that she posted years ago, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. But I think the whole big thing with Bizarro reveal, I'm curious like where it's going to go. Um, so I thought it was just really really cool how that happened. A nice
Yeah.
little swerve there. So I don't want them to keep doing that because that's going to get old after a while. Like we're thinking it's one person and then it's something else or whatever. But it was really cool how they did that. Even when they did with John Henry at the end of one episode, I think in the first season, episode one, we thought it was Lex Luthor, and then it turns out later on it's John Henry.
Yeah. Steel.
Yeah, exactly. So I just hope they don't keep doing that because now they're starting to have a pattern. So who knows, one or two more, but not as long as not throughout the entirety of the series.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I took away from this is that in the previous Countdown City Geekcast, I had alluded that it could possibly be a Superman from either another dimension or another world,
Right.
And I had thought, okay, well, they had, um, John Henry's daughter came through, so I'm like, well, if she came through, then that means that something else could have come through as well, you know.
Right.
So it looks like my assumption may have been kind of correct, because I thought it was going to be the Superman from, John Henry's Earth,
From his Earth,
that
yeah.
come through, but in fact, it was Bizarro. So I don't think that Bizarro came through at the same time as John Henry's daughter. I think there was something else going on within the mines in that
Mhm.
X kryptonite that they were probably harvesting the X kryptonite to probably make some type of dimensional gateway, and something
Yeah.
in fact did come through, and that's what was giving Superman all these headaches and visions and all that because they were saying that it was some type of cosmic
Right.
being, being Bizarro, and it was
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, to me it was kind of amazing to see at the end of the episode you see Bizarro going to the Fortress of Solitude, like he instinctively knew where it was at, and there's
Exactly.
nothing there. So I'm like, and the crazy thing is, I think he's going to be able to reactivate the Fortress of Solitude in some way because did you see the amulet or the necklace that he was wearing?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
looked
that's cool. That's kind of what I thought too, is like maybe this is how it comes back, because I mean, what's Superman without his fortress? Like it has to be there. And so when I saw that, I thought the same thing, like, yeah, maybe he's gonna bring it back.
or I
But it
thought
might not, it's not gonna be the same type of fortress.
yeah, I thought that either he's going to either bring it back or I remember it that episode where the crystal broke, they buried it, you
Hmm.
know? They buried it. So I wonder if he can reforge the crystal, like fix it again,
Yeah.
Maybe that's a possibility. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it actually goes, Because I
Or
just
maybe they'll need to. Maybe it's sort of both. Like, Bizarro will bring back the fortress, but they'll still need that crystal to bring it to, this Superman's fortress and not Bizarro's fortress.
yeah, well, we're just
Maybe.
talking about the reveal with Bizarro, and I was kind of telling Jericho that I kind of alluded to that in the previous episode where I thought it was going to be the actual Superman from John Henry's Earth, that was going to come through because his daughter opened a portal and was able to come through. And I was like, oh, well, it's probably going to be that Superman from that Earth. But in fact, no, it was Bizarro. But I was telling Jericho that one of the theories that I had too was I don't think that Bizarro came through when John Henry's daughter came through. I think they're doing some type of an experiment in the caves with the ex kryptonite, and maybe they were able to open some type of interdimensional gateway. And in fact, Bizarro was the product of that. He's the entity that came on through because she seemed pleased, in that episode when they found that something was coming up, So
Yeah,
yeah, I think it was purposely done. It was done on purpose. They didn't know what was coming through, but they knew something was approaching.
yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely talked about that last time that Amertech was potentially doing something nefarious in those minds. I don't mind that it's Bizarro. I think that's kind of cool, but like when that thing is standing out in the suit, it's like huge, like Juggernaut in Deadpool 2 size. And so I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's got to be Doomsday or something very similar." And then for it to be Bizarro, which is like a one for one scale of Clark, it's like, well, then why does his suit look so damn big? Like, it looked like he was
Well,
20 feet tall.
I noticed when he at the end when he gets to the fortress, he as he's walking by something, I don't know if it was like some crystals or just the ice or whatever, it looked like he shrunk down. Like he was still his huge self, and then as he's walking by, you see him kind of like shrink down a little bit. Maybe it's just the suit itself made him. Maybe it
Big.
was like like protecting him and made him look bigger or whatever. Like I don't say inflated, but expanded. For protection. And
Yeah.
then outside of the suit, he's his normal size, which is Clark size. That's what I noticed. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's what it looked like happened.
I'll
And
buy it.
I was telling Jericho too that you saw the amulet that Bizarro had, on his necklace, and like it was a crystal, like some type of energy source. And I told Jericho it's kind of odd that he knew exactly where the Fortress of Solitude was located. He went directly to it. He didn't need to
Yeah.
even talk to Clark in order to find out where it was at. So that right there made me kind of think of something that I was telling Jericho. I'm like, I wonder if they're going to wind up reactivating the Fortress of Solitude. Maybe Bizarro can do that. Or the second thing is maybe Bizarro can reforge or, kind of put together the crystal that was destroyed, by Edge. Because they didn't destroy it. You mean they buried the crystal
Yeah.
on the Kent farm. So I wonder if Bizarro might have a way to kind of put that back together and reactivate the fortress.
JC also mentioned, will they reference Bizarro's world, which is, I always say it's wrong, Hitre? I don't know,
Yeah, he's
but
from.
he's forged a new place for himself, and he has duplicates. There's duplicates of like Lois and himself and everybody else. He has this whole other world. Is that going to be called out when he grabs Clark? He says, "Leave me alone," which you
Yeah.
know leads me to believe that this is not any of his doing by any means. He was either pulled, kidnapped, abducted, however you want to say it, and he wants kind of no part of what's going to happen or what's coming up next. Will somebody try and weaponize him? That's the question. Will they
Oh,
succeed?
Anderson's gonna try and do that.
Will they succeed? That's the other question. And how do they pull this off to begin with? That's what I'm gonna be curious about. How did Amertech? How were they able to pull him from whatever planet or whatever multiverse that he's from? That's
I
gonna
think they
be
they
very curious.
weaponized. I think they kind of weaponized some of the tech they used to kind of help bring everybody back. Kind of expel the entities that were in everybody at the end of the first season. And kind of bring
Hmm.
them back to human beings. Maybe they use some of that tech to do something of this nature. And one of the funny things about Bizarro World is that it's Earth spelled backwards where he comes from, and his world is not circular; it's cube shaped.
Cube. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
everything's so weird. It's bizarre. So the name is fitting.
yeah. I think yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen with him. Hopefully he doesn't go missing for a couple of episodes and then comes back. Like, because it's happened in other shows, but um, I also want him to be, because I think they have like two confirmed villains for the season. So I wouldn't mind him being maybe one of the main villains where he's going to be there for a while and really pose a threat. But maybe he'll end up turning good at the same time. Because he's sort of like an anti-hero kind of deal at times. Like he kind of his characteristics kind of switch from time to time. So
Yeah.
who knows? Let's see what version we get.
Yeah, and I don't know how many episodes are in the second season. In the
See.
first season, we had 8. No, it can't be right. Oh no, that's not right.
A
No,
lot more.
Hang on,
we had
hang on,
like
hang on,
16,
hang
didn't
on.
we? Or 20 some odd.
No.
I'm trying to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
They're numbered.
8, 9. There's no numbers on these things, so I'm just gonna say like, yeah, you're probably right. We had that many.
Because they went on hiatus and then they came back again. It's like part for the first part of the season, then it was the second part.
Let's see here.
I think there's 15 episodes it looks like in this second season.
But even for any kind of show, that's pretty short. Pretty short. Pretty short season. Because an average season for a series is about 20, 21 episodes. So maybe I don't know if the whole pandemic kind of affected that.
I think that's what I read somewhere is that the pandemic
Yeah,
actually affected the number of seasons that they not the number of seasons, but the number of episodes
number of
that they
episodes.
were able to do.
Because I know even like Flash, they did the whole Armageddon, and then they're not coming back to like March.
Yeah.
They had that whole break, so it's having a big effect. But yeah, I mean, but still, the whole show itself. I mean, outside of Bizarro, I was telling Ted, when you were out, a lot of little things happen. We have Lois, dealing with the backlash of what I'm saying is it's sort of a jab or of the whole Allison Mack and Kristen Kruick incident, their whole little thing.
Odd they would do that.
The whole. I told you that. I have the text message.
No, no, no. I said it's odd that they would make that
Oh, it's
choice
odd that
too.
they did that. Sorry, my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, because I don't think you do that by accident, especially with a Superman related show. Um, but we have that. We have Jordan dealing with with what's her name, Sarah. We have Jonathan going down the wrong path now with his girlfriend and the whole drugs thing, and then we have Lana running for mayor. Is it mayor or governor? I think it's mayor, right,
Yeah.
of the town.
Yeah.
Mayor. Yeah.
So a lot of little things going on. So what I was telling Joe is like, for this episode, I think the whole Bizarro thing was like the more important part of it, not just because we find out who's in the suit, but everything else is kind of minor in a way. I felt like it didn't drive the story forward enough. But at least
Yeah.
we find out why Clark was having these visions and these headaches and all that.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start having to bring things to an end here because Ted's gonna be a little busy right now, I think, with his daughter.
Oh yeah, okay.
She's
Doesn't
awake.
want to sleep.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta do your daddy duty. She's wide
Look
awake
at
now.
her.
The star of the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think like I mentioned, like that was the biggest topic for Soups and Lois. I feel like everything else is just like secondary compared to that.
Yeah.
But it's still interesting to see where they're gonna go. They're gonna go for the rest of the season. Let us know what your favorite part was, and what do you think about the reveal? Let us know in the comments or you can always send us a message by clicking the send message button on Facebook, or you can email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. Don't forget, tomorrow, Monday, January 31st, or later today, is going to be the part two, the sequel of the Great Spidey Debate. We will have Rob back on the show. Uh, we
I think we
actually
need to
had him.
remind him.
We had him on the preview. Yeah, he probably forgot. We had him on the preview for No Way Home. Um, he talked
Yeah.
a little bit about it, but he hasn't really given us his full thoughts on No Way Home. So we'll be very interested to hear what he has to say about that. So please join us for part two of the Great Spidey Debate. For the Geekcast, my name is Steady. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. With me on this episode is the man behind the magic, the one and only Joe Garcia.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and definitely make sure you check out part 2 of the Great Spidey Debate. That's always going to be a fun episode there. So make sure you subscribe, like, share, and don't miss the Great Spidey Debate. And hopefully you can come in and leave some comments and see what Rob has to say. I'm interested to see what
There we
Rob
go.
really has to say about No Way Home.
Can't wait, can't wait. And last but never the least, we call him Thimble. It's one and only Jericho.
This is the last episode where you call me Thimble or Sweet Cheeks or anything else. Later, y'all. Have a good one.
See you next week. Actually, we'll see you tomorrow, and then the week after that. Have a good night.